Hello, this is Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio, and today we're going to be working on part 1 of my mini Muks pattern. These are ankle-high boot-shaped slipper socks. For this project, we're going to be using medium weight yarn around the size 4. I like to use one color that's either a little textured or variegated, something kind of fun and interesting. For this project, I'm going with Big Twist. This is marked as a 4. It's actually a little bit heavier than a standard 4, and I like that it has a little bit of texture to it. And then I'm also using just your basic wool ease. This is a medium weight 4 in a complementary color, and I think it's going to go nicely with the Big Twist. They're not identical in weight, but that's perfectly okay. Also for this project, you'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need a crochet hook. I have a variety on hand because you may need to adjust your crochet hook to adjust your gauge. I've got a few stitch markers, a measuring tape, a yarn needle. We're also going to be using some fabric for the soles. This is some recycled plastic that I like to use. You can see it has that shiny side, but then the other side is good for non-slip, so I kind of like to use this. If you choose to use leather or faux leather, you might need a leather punch. So those are all the supplies. I'm going to put more information and specific links below. We're going to start with the Big Twist. This is our granny square color. For part 1, we're going to be focusing on our ankle measurement. Please watch this part through to the end before you jump in, because it will help you understand the gauge for this project and give you the ability you need to tweak the size so that it's perfect for you. I'm going to give you as much information as I can, and please leave any questions in the comments below. I want everyone to achieve the size mukluk that they're hoping for. All of that being said, it's time to jump into part 1, which is our granny squares, and we're going to be making 6. For round 1 of the granny square, you'll start by chaining 3. And then we're going to work a double crochet decrease in the 3rd chain from our hook. To do so, you'll yarn over, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over again and go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the 3 remaining loops on your hook. That is going to count as your beginning cluster. Then you chain 3. Now we start our repeating pattern by working a cluster in the same stitch. To work a cluster, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 times, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 remaining loops on your hook. After your cluster, chain 3, and then you go back to the beginning of the repeat. You'll do this 5 times until you have a total of 6 clusters, your beginning cluster and 5 more clusters, and they're all worked into that 3rd chain from our beginning chain 3. Our last cluster of round 1, we chain 3. You can see we've got 6 clusters in all, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to our beginning cluster. For round 2, you're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space and then chain 2. We're going to do another one of those beginning clusters, work a double crochet decrease in the same space, and pull through all 3 loops, and then chain 3, and then you'll cluster in the same space. You can also think of a cluster as working 3 double crochets together. After that cluster, chain 3, and then into the next chain 3 space, you're going to work a cluster, chain 3, cluster, chain 3. Then you'll go back to the beginning of the repeat, and in the next chain 3 space, you'll work a cluster, chain 3, cluster, chain 3. So you're going to do this all the way around until you meet back up with that beginning cluster. Here we are at our last chain 3 space, so I'm going to work the pattern one more time. I'm going to work a cluster, then chain 3, then one more cluster, chain 3, and I'll finish off by slip stitching to our beginning cluster. That's round 2 complete, and our granny square is much more of a granny circle at this point. We're going to take care of that in round 3. You can see that we've got a total of 12 clusters and 12 chain 3 spaces going into the next round. So round 3 is our last round. You're almost done. You're going to chain 1, and into that same stitch we're going to work 3 single crochets. Only I'm going to stop after this second one and place a stitch marker. This is going to mark the center of our first corner. Now I'm going to finish that 3rd single crochet. And now we're going to be working across these chain 3 spaces and clusters. Continuing round 3, you'll work 2 single crochets in the next chain 3 space, and then work a single crochet in the top of the next cluster, then 2 single crochets in the next chain 3 space, then single crochet in the next cluster, and then 2 more single crochets in the next chain 3 space. In the top of the next cluster, we start our repeating pattern. We're going to work 3 single crochets. I'm stopping after the second one of these so I can place my stitch marker. This is the middle of the second corner. Now I'm going to do that 3rd single crochet, and now we work across the next side with 2 single crochets in the next chain 3 space, and then a single crochet in the next cluster, 2 single crochets in the next chain 3 space, a single crochet in the next cluster, and then 2 in the next chain 3 space. That's a total of 8 stitches across until you reach the next cluster, and then you're back to the beginning of the repeat. You'll work 3 single crochets in the next cluster, marking the second of these as the 3rd corner, and then work that repeat again. At the end of round 3, you'll slip stitch to the beginning single crochet, the one just to the right of that first corner stitch marker, and then you can finish off your work. Going to snip off my working yarn, Let's have a look at our granny square. So this is more of a rounded square, and that's intentional for this project. I just like the way that looks wrapped around our ankle and wrapped around our foot. We're going to turn it because we're actually looking at the measurement from corner to corner. If I take out my handy dandy ruler, I'm measuring at about 4.5 inches or 11.5 centimeters approximately. Now, my ankle measures 8 inches around, so we're looking at a measurement that's closer to 9 inches. So I know this is going to be a little bit loose on me, and I've just decided to go with it for the sake of this project. Remember, we're looking at the distance around our ankle. But if you look at two squares together, it's coming to closer to 9 inches. I'm okay with my mini mucks being a little roomy, but you can see that the soles are measuring almost at 10 inches. I wear a size 8, but my mini mucks are going to be a bit better for someone who wears a size 9. I could easily size these down a little bit by using a smaller crochet hook. These granny squares make up so quickly that if you have to make 2 or 3 until you get the gauge that you want for the size mini muck that you're looking for, it's really not too much extra work to make a few squares, and just be really happy with the way that's fitting around your ankle. I think it kind of contributes to the boho look of these mini mucks to have not all of the squares be super matchy-matchy, but I do like to coordinate them so that they do look like a matching pair of boots. So that's all for part 1. All you need to do before next time is to make 6 granny squares. Join me next Tuesday and we'll embark on part 2. If you're enjoying this project, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.